Hello everyone, it's Linda Ockwell-Jenner here, co-founder of the Small Business Community Network with another SBCN Small Biz Perspectives. And today I'm here with Dave Ockwell-Jenner. Hi Dave.
Well, hello, from all the way in my office to your office.
So the reason I wanted to have a chat with you today, Dave, is because I hear you're quite the thing where cybersecurity is concerned.
So I've been told.
And for everybody out there, just in case you didn't know, Christmas is over and you've bought lots and lots of goodies, including a lot of smart technology, talking kettles,
You'd be amazed.
talking speakers. I read an article today, Dave, and it was all about how people can listen in on our conversations via all this amazing stuff we've got in our home or office. Is this true?
Yes and no. I mean, there has certainly been a rise in the number of these, gadgets and devices that you get that you can now just speak to. Like you have the device from Amazon. There's a similar one from Google. Apple now has one with their offering as well. So certainly the major technology companies have decided this is something that we want, some kind of technology that we just speak to. And I guess you could sort of imagine that if we are going to be speaking to these bits of technology, by definition, they have to be listening. Otherwise, they would just be ignoring us all the time. So from that perspective, yes, the technology is technically listening all of the time. What it's not doing is sending everything that it's hearing back to Google or Apple or Amazon or wherever it happens to be. So those devices, what they're actually doing is just listening for some kind of trigger word. And I'm not going to say it in case anybody is listening to this and they have it on the speakers and their devices go off. But let's say the trigger word is trigger. They'll just be listening for you to say trigger. Once that happens, then they start sort of basically recording what you're saying, sending that back to the sort of the corporate mothership, if you will, where all the cleverness lies, right? All that technology actually figures out what you're saying it's not in the little device in your home, it's thousands of miles away back in the mothership.
So are lots of little elves sitting in front of this technology at this big organisation somewhere, listening for what we've got to say, or is it purely computers?
It's not elves. Apparently, that's very frowned upon, employing elves in that manner now. I think only Santa gets away with it. No, it's artificial intelligence to some degree. So, excuse me. Essentially, it's a bunch of clever mathematics that's going on in a computer somewhere. It's listening to audio coming in. It's figuring out what the words are that you're saying. And even beyond that, it's trying to figure out what's the meaning that you're trying to convey. So if you think about, asking for the weather report, you could say, tell me the weather. What's the weather today? How is the weather looking right now? So you're all asking for the same thing, but in three different ways. So that artificial intelligence has to not just look at the words, but try and figure out what the meaning is as
So
well.
does this lead to people listening or passing on our information, what's the weather like? We want to go on holiday. So, excuse me. So basically people would then start being bombarded with holiday brochures via the internet because somebody listened to us saying we don't like the weather.
That's a tricky one to answer. I mean, theoretically, we would all like to assume that these devices are, keeping everything that we share with them and they share with us private. But ultimately, these are businesses that are providing, these bits of equipment and bits of technology to us. They need to make some kind of money beyond just selling you the little gadget that sits on your desk or wherever. So, yeah, I would think it would probably be quite likely in some cases that information that we're sharing with, let's say, Amazon. I'll pick on them just because they happen to be at the start of the alphabet.
Well, we do love Amazon, just so
we do love Amazon
Amazon's
for sure.
Listening,
I see what you did there. Yeah, so I mean, if we just take, for example, Amazon, yes, they will certainly look at, say, your purchase history. That's quite normal thing for a retailer to do, whether that's an online retailer or traditional in a store kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean they certainly want to try and maximize the value from that information they have on you, and yes, they may potentially try and make money from that, I would think.
And didn't you tell me during one of our conversations over coffee that a lot of money is spent on this technology? Let's use Amazon again as a good example. and we get it relatively, do we get it free? Do we have to buy it? So basically, they need to get their money back somehow, or did I get that wrong?
No, that's absolutely right. I mean, if you think about it, you go to the store and you buy one of these little gadgets. It's maybe, I don't know, $50 to $150, something like that. Once you take it home, you're not signing up for any service. There's no monthly subscription fee. You're not paying a license fee each month. So somehow that company needs to make money off of that purchase.
Yeah.
Yes, they make money off the sale of the physical device itself, but I'm sure they must have some revenue streams based, in other parts of this business model as well.
So they can pay the little elves.
Maybe they need to pay the elves.
So we shouldn't be scared. We've got to be proactive, haven't we, Dave? And say to ourselves, okay, I purchased this product. I purchased this. Hello Google, whatever it is we're purchasing. So I have to explore the possibilities. I have to ask the sales assistant or a trusted connection who knows about these things. I have to make sure that these things are secure. If I don't know how to do them, get somebody to do it for me. We can't keep slamming these people and saying, we bought one of your things and we love it, but now they're listening to us doing A, B, and C. We have to be proactive, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And that's not just like a one-time thing. I mean, you buy this thing and it does a bunch of, features out of the box. But all these companies, Amazon, Google, and Apple, et cetera, they're all continuing to add new features to these things over time. Now, that device doesn't really change too much in your house. Yes, it might update itself over time, but on that back end, all of those services that are available, via voice, that's constantly changing. So, we as consumers, we have to make sure we go and figure out what those privacy policies look like, not just once, but periodically through the year, because they will change.
And it's no different to in the old-fashioned days when we used to give the pigeon our letter in an envelope. We popped it in an envelope so it would be private. We didn't give it to the pigeon so they could see what we've written. So basically, we've just got to think the old-fashioned way, really simply, and we're set. We won't have any problems, hopefully.
Yeah, that's quite a pragmatic way of looking at it. Nothing is 100% secure, nothing is 100% private. It's just degrees or shades of gray, if you will. And to the point of the major manufacturers like Google and Apple and Amazon and co, they invest millions and millions of dollars to try and make this stuff work. No matter how much they invest, no matter how many smart people they have, they will make mistakes. It's, I think, inevitable that something will go wrong. And we as consumers shouldn't expect that, a less than $200 device has, some kind of security and privacy model that outstrips, what you would find in most banks, for example. It's just not possible. So we need to make a decision for ourselves. Is the convenience worth more than, the potential that something could go wrong? And I think in most cases, the answer is yes.
Well, yeah, because obviously we all need this thingy that can say, hey, close the curtains, close the blinds, turn the lights on, turn the radio on, cook me my dinner, make me a cup of coffee. We all need that. And then we'll need something to make us healthy because we'll be so unfit, sitting there telling stuff to do. No, I'm only joking. I love all this stuff, but I get really annoyed when people say it's their fault, they sold it to me, or people are spying on me when I'm having my shower or whatever, the smart TV. And I say, please listen to the awareness on the radio, on the TV, listen to the podcast, listen to people like Dave. And so what would you say we've been talking about today? Mostly security, smart devices. What is the message we want to pass on to our people today, Dave?
Yeah, well, I think we've primarily touched sort of on that privacy impact. That yes, there is a whole different discussion around security. I mean, ultimately, we've told people for years, if you have a network in your house or in your office, only connect things that you trust. And then all of a sudden we rush out and buy some random little devices, we plug them in, and we just hope that they're fine. In most cases, that's probably true of the major manufacturers. A lot of these, other smart devices like, smart switches and thermostats and God knows what else that you can get nowadays, they're not all the same. A $20 thermostat is not probably going to give you the same level of security as a $200 thermostat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, probably you get what you pay for.
How can a switch be not secure?
Well, I mean, one of the nice features that I think people buy these things for is that they can turn, power on or turn a gadget on remotely. So, maybe I'm out at a meeting and I forgot to turn the oven on. I can just press a button and the oven comes on, poor example, but that's maybe something I want to do. So in order to be able to do that gadget in our house or in the office, wherever it is, by definition, it has to be able to communicate with some service, let's say it's in the cloud, that it can get instructions from that says, hey, Dave just asked me for you to turn yourself on. Can you go do that, please? So if the little app that I have on my smartphone can tell the cloud to tell the oven to turn on, maybe something else can tell the cloud to turn the oven on. And that's sort of where that risk comes in.
That is interesting. But to be clear, it doesn't mean that if a device or a switch only costs $20, it's not secure. What we're trying to encourage people to do is ask the questions and know for themselves that when they're walking away, they feel secure, that they've done the right thing and they're protecting themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a tricky situation. Did you have any smart toys for Christmas Day?
I actually had a couple before Christmas. So going back to that smart switch thing, as you know, the Christmas lights, we can now just ask our little Google device to turn the Christmas lights on.
Yeah.
Super convenient, very nice. I did not buy a particularly expensive, they call it a Wi-Fi smart switch. Wasn't a particularly expensive one. Wasn't a well-known brand name. But, having bought it, the first thing I did before I even plugged the Christmas lights in, obviously being a security guy, is let's go have a look, see how these things work.
Good.
And in this case, they were fairly cost effective and they were pretty good. So we have those. I have these lovely little earphones.
The Christmas light switch, would you have the ability, if you're a bad guy, to be really naughty and switch everybody's Christmas lights on and off? Or...
I think that would be pretty tricky. I mean, the big worry with the Internet of Things, as they call it, the IoT thing, is it's not necessarily, bad guys wanting to attack this little tiny device. But if you think of it this way, that little device sits on the same network as all the other things that we have. So it's on the same network as our laptops. So the major sort of worry is, could someone, gain access to other things in your network through this little power switch? And that's the concern that a lot of people have. But you're absolutely right. Ask questions is the great way to do it. Certainly go research the company that's selling the device. They usually tell you what they do in terms of security. And for the most part, if they say they do something, typically they are doing it. Where we struggle is they don't say very much. And typically that's what we find.
And yes, your ear thingies look very good. Santa brought those along, and they work well, do they?
They work very well. Yeah, absolutely.
And you're not worried that anybody will break into your ears?
No, these devices that I have actually use a thing called Bluetooth, which is like a wireless protocol allowing them to talk to, in this case, my iPad. They work great. Excuse me. The Bluetooth technology itself, has built-in encryption. It has built-in authentication, so that my device is only connected to my iPad. Nobody can listen in if they're able to do that kind of thing.
That is good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That is good. So we've had a great conversation, Dave. Thank you for being in your office, and I'm in my office. And I think what I want everybody who is listening to this is to think for themselves and be proactive, and not just slam the device or the manufacturer or whoever and say, well, it's your fault, because we have to be proactive. I will wish you goodbye, and I will see you later, Mr. Ockwell-Jenner.
I would imagine in a very short time.
Okay.
All right. Great talking
to you. Have a great day.
All right. Bye-bye.